we were trying to come up with topics for this podcast today, and I think one of the things that you know we all agreed on was it's October now, and we're getting closer to Halloween, and maybe we can talk about some like haunted housey type things.
Yeah.
And sort of touch on maybe what we think the value, how you would value something that's like the Amityville house, or I don't know what other like famous haunted places.
The Amityville, Addams Family, like any of those, like Cabin in the Woods, like all those things. I'm gonna pull up.
Do we have a lot of haunted houses, like in Windsor and Essex County? Like, are there haunted places? I don't know enough. I'm not from here, but are there like
have you heard of Texas Road?
Yeah, my wife told
that's
me
the
about
only
that.
thing that I kind of like.
What's the story with Texas Road?
There's been a lot. So apparently there's recent ones and later ones, but there's a cemetery at the end. Have you ever been there?
No.
So if you go
I've been on Texas Road, like showing houses, but I haven't been to this.
So if you go down the road, eventually it turns into a dirt road, and then eventually it hits a dead end. And at the dead end, people park their cars, and then you go into these woods. In the woods, there's like a little bridge that goes over, and that goes into a cemetery in the woods.
Oh, good. So this is like full on.
So
haunted.
I think all the stories were made, and I'm sure people will correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the stories were all made along the way because people had this creepy area where there's like a thing in the wood. And I remember going there, and there's like cages in the woods for some reason.
There's something about like, what did somebody tell me once? That there was like, if you go on a certain stretch of it, you'd see like a light. You'd see like a headlight, or you'd see like a train light or something.
Let me see here.
Shining down the road, and it was supposed to be like a ghost train or something.
Texas Road story. Stories of Texas Road, Amherstburg, Ontario. There's been a lot, and it was always like a fun thing to do when you're like a teenager. You're like, I'm gonna take you on a date. We're going to Texas Road. Me and my girlfriend are planning on going. Yeah, see, this is a date.
It's a date.
On going to Texas Road. Like, I got you, honey. Hold my hand. This is gonna be just fine. To Texas Road, and we're seeing if people want to join. Oh my God, this isn't a date. Have fun. The lights and power. Oh, this actually happened. One time we went there, we came running back because the scariest part of Texas Road to me is you park your cars and you walk 15 minutes into these woods, and when you have to go back, now you're walking back to anybody who came in after you knowing you're in there.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now you're coming back. I think it's scarier just the weirdos and the people that pull in behind you and they see your cars and they know you're in there. So now I'm coming back to people who are coming in, and I'm like, you better not fucking mess with me. Like I'm worried they're going to jump out and scare us, or they're actually crazy people. Like, who knows? So that's the scariest part to me. And one time we come running back and we're full of adrenaline and we're like, oh, this is crazy. Everyone's getting in their cars. Legitimately, one of us locked our keys in our car.
Oh, no. And
we ended up having to call a tow truck company. And we were sitting at the dead end of Texas Road for about an hour and a half. That legitimately happened. That was crazy. So yeah, I'm not really getting like stories here.
That's okay.
But like one person did say here, we did once pull into the cemetery at 11:55, lost all lights and power in the car for at least 5 minutes. Have fun. No explanation why this happened. I think everybody's got their story.
Okay, so the question then is, let's relate this to the real estate world for a second, because we are a Realtors for Life podcast. And does something like that affect the value of homes around that area?
Yes.
It does?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, it depends on the person and the people that are like...
But it doesn't matter. When you say it depends on the person, what that means is there's a giant group of people in the population that just would not consider buying a home in that area, which does fully affect the value.
You've sold 2 houses now, backing on, and I've done many, and I've had the same issue, backing onto a cemetery.
Yeah.
And how did that go?
Yeah.
It's a tough sell, because some people, and you have your cliche real estate line. Well, they're the
quietest
neighbors,
rear neighbors in the world.
quietest neighbors in town. And then someone's like, that's really weird. There are people that, whether it's religious beliefs or just superstition. I think superstition is the biggest one.
Well, I think cultural things play into it huge too, though, right? Like it's a cult. Like for a lot of people in certain cultures, like it's, to live on a cemetery is not even an option. Like it's like because that's a sacred thing. It's separate from what they.
Yeah, I'd say when it comes to the stigma of backing onto a cemetery, there's a lot of people that have a big superstition about that. You saw it. I mean, one of your biggest complaints when you had that listing on Lillian was it backs onto a cemetery, and it just creeps people out.
Yep.
And I personally, I don't think it would bother me. I think there would always be like this kind of weird feeling that like your friends would joke with you, and like you kind of creep yourself out just getting your head.
Well, like you said, some people care and some people don't. But no matter what,
if enough people care,
that affects the value of the home, because you will get less offers on the home. You'll have less interest, and that equates to less dollars when it comes time to sell.